Srimati Radharani. So I looked a little bit into what Srila Prabhupada spoke about Srimati Radharani during the festivals days. 3 classes what I found recorded where Srila Prabhupada speaks about Srimati Radharani. So I went through it, and it was quite interesting that on all these 3 classes Srila Prabhupada didn't speak that much about Srimati Radharani. He mentioned something, but he is not speaking about any pastimes what we are used to. It's many times you would like to hear some pastimes from also other books than Srila Prabhupada's and like that. But that, I didn't see that as a mood of Srila Prabhupada. When I was listening his classes, his focus was somewhere else. And I believe that what he wanted from us, that we will follow in his footsteps. So I will try to paraphrase some of the points what he mentioned in his classes, and we can leave also some space for some discussion at the end. So if you will have some questions or comments, we can spend some time on that as well. Srimati Radharani, she is a pleasure-giving potency, Krishna, Hladini Shakti. And because Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, so we are reflecting that enjoying spirit. Because Krishna is owing that enjoying spirit, and we are his parts and particles, therefore we are reflecting the same enjoying spirit. But Krishna and Srimati Radharani are the, how to say, the personification of enjoyment actually. Whatever we enjoy here in this material world is only the reflection. When persons accept brahmachari life or sannyas or vanaprastha stage of life, they are doing for the sake that they want to achieve some higher happiness. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that all these persons or transcendentalists, they are trying to achieve the happiness of a Brahman for the sake that they want something higher, some higher happiness than material happiness. And he's saying that for that sake, you have to give up all material attachments and happiness to taste the happiness of a Brahman. And then we know that the happiness of a Brahman is actually just the beginning of spiritual life. Brahma bhuta prasanatmana shochati na kankshati samaksareshu bhuteshu man bhaktim labhate param. That Bhagavad Gita explained that the pure devotional service starts actually from the level, once you achieve the level of Brahman. That means you gave up the material enjoyment or the desire for material enjoyment. That's what is, I would say, more appropriate. We can give up externally material enjoyment, but if the desire is remaining, then still actually we want to enjoy material things. Although maybe externally we are restricting ourselves, but till the desire will be there, till this momentum, when you see the object and you, first your thought is how this can be beneficial for my enjoyment. Till this will be there, till that point we are actually trying to enjoy the matter. Although maybe externally we don't do that, but the tendency, the spirit, enjoying spirit is there. When we will switch, when we see the object and we will think how this can be used in the service of Krishna, at that point we are actually giving up the enjoying materialistic mentality. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that actually higher than level of enjoying the Brahman is of course Paramatma and then Bhagavan, and which is enjoyed by devotees, especially the Bhagavan relationship. So we cannot go to that platform without giving up that mentality to enjoy separately from the Krishna. Srimati Radharani, she is perfect example. Whatever she does, she always meditates for the pleasure of Krishna. There is a story in Krishna book when Srimati Radharani and Krishna sent Uddhava as one of the messenger to Vrindavan to deliver the letter to Brijvasis and especially the gopis. And when gopis were speaking with Uddhava, Srimati Radharani, in her absorption of thoughts of Krishna, she was speaking to a bumblebee. And she, let's say in her transcendental madness, she considered that bumblebee a messenger of Krishna. And she was speaking with him in the first way that she was kind of criticizing Krishna. She was quite critical that what are all his, how he gave up, how he's actually just jumping from one girl to another, and then once he enjoyed this girl, he doesn't need anymore this previous one, and then how he's now enjoying in the city with these aristocratic girls, and he actually doesn't need to enjoy with these village girls because they are not anyway even his family, so he's enjoying with his family in Mathura. Like that she was going on, and then one point the bumblebee disappeared for a while, and then she went completely mad. She was thinking that he went now to deliver the message to Krishna. So she was devastated that actually the Krishna will be displeased. So then the bumblebee appeared again after some time. Then she started to speak completely in the opposite mood. She was glorifying. In the beginning, she was actually speaking about it, bumblebee, that you are unreliable servant of unreliable master. So she was even with that bumblebee speaking like that. And then when he appeared again, she was welcoming him. Oh, welcome, my dear messenger. So her mood was completely opposite, because what she was thinking when the bumblebee disappeared, she was thinking that, oh, Krishna, he must be hurt by that. He must be displeased, what I was telling. So when the bumblebee came back, she was thinking, oh, Krishna is still so merciful, he sent his messenger back. Although he was just for a while gone from her side, and from Vrindavan to Mathura is quite some distance. So you can see that she was not sober at the moment. She was in transcendental madness, and she couldn't perceive the, let's say, obvious reality. But she was speaking like, oh, Krishna sent him back, so he's still giving me so much mercy, he's still so merciful. So then she started to glorify Krishna. So that's the mode of a devotee. And of course, because when we came to Krishna consciousness, we didn't know who is Krishna, we didn't know what is the spirit, so we started to learn these things. And we were learning it from Srila Prabhupada. Of course, maybe directly, indirectly, maybe we met the devotees and they were teaching us in the beginning. But later on, we started to read the books of Srila Prabhupada, or in the beginning somebody. And that was our connection with Krishna. That was our default settings, how we should approach Krishna and Krishna consciousness. And if we stick to these default settings, later on from that, we can actually develop our natural affection for Krishna, what we have. But if we divert from that default settings, there is actually big chance that we will never achieve that natural love what we are supposed to, what we are all of us inherited. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sadha Kabunaya, Shravanadi Shrudachite Koraya Udaya. This Krishna Prema is inherited in the heart of every living entity. It's not something which is coming from the outside, that we joined this Hare Krishna movement and then they brainwash us and they implanted some ideas into our mind. That's what they were trying in the 70s. Those called this deprogramming. Now, the Krishna Prema is something which is natural for every living entity, and the symptoms can be seen through the life of living entities. So, Srila Prabhupada, he was teaching us how we can develop that Krishna Prema. And he was also warning. What was interesting on that class, I was listening, I went through the two classes. I didn't went through all of them, but I went through the notes of third one. My wife, she made some notes. So I went through the notes. And in all three classes, Srila Prabhupada, it's interesting, he speaks about Prakrita Sahaja mentality. And even one of the class, he was speaking like, on more than half an hour of the class, he speaks about the difference between body and the soul, and the controlling of the senses. And then he comes to the point where he says, oh, today is Srimati Radharani, so I must speak about Srimati Radharani. So, even Srila Prabhupada, he was not in the mood so much speaking about pastime or Srimati Radharani. But sometimes we feel so much qualified to speak about Srimati Radharani. And then when they are closing the altar, we are calling Radhe. But Srila Prabhupada, he was not much in the mood. He was never doing these things. Because he knew how high is the philosophy to understand the position of Srimati Radharani. For example, when we worship Radha Krishna, we worship with the rules and regulations. That means the mood of worship is Lakshmi Narayan. Because that's the mood of Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means rules and regulations. Ayodhya, Dwaraka is the same thing, rules and regulations. Maybe more intimate, but still rules and regulations. In Vaikuntha, the general approach of Narayan is from the distance. We know, I said some time ago here, when Gopkumar came to Vaikuntha, when he was supposed to approach Narayan, he got clear instructions. From a distance, you don't go through the hall, you stay at the entrance of the hall, and from that distance, with the folded hands, you sing the proper prayers and hymns. Only certain prescribed. When Gopkumar, he broke the rule. When he entered the hall, he saw the Narayan, he was overwhelmed with the ecstasy, because in his original Swarupa, he's a cowherd boy. So he started to run, and he was calling, Hey Krishna, Hey Gopal. And then how Vaikuntha Dutas, how they were reacting, they blocked his progress. They stopped him, and he was devastated. But that's the mood of Vaikuntha. And then maybe in Ayodhya, the inhabitants are a little more close. Because in Vaikuntha, Lord is the general ruler. He's the master, he's the king of Vaikuntha. In Ayodhya, they feel, Lord Ramachandra, he's our king, we are his citizens, it's Ramachandra, his kingdom. And then Dwaraka is even more intimate because he's our family member, Krishna. And then they can invite Krishna sometimes for a lunch. So it's more intimate. But they cannot jump on Krishna's shoulder and fight with him or steal his flute or something like that. They cannot do that. So you can see still rules and regulations, maybe more intimate, but rules and regulations. And then Goloka Vrindavana, no rules and regulations. And when the gopis are undressing Krishna, preparing him for the bath, Krishna takes his flute and he throws this to Gopkumar, because he thinks that gopi, they will want to break it, because they are considering it as a competitor. There is no rules and regulation how Krishna should throw the flute, and then he should gopis, they should do like that, and no, it's spontaneous relationship. So then when we worship Radha Krishna here, is with awe and reverence. Srila Prabhupada is explaining, till you achieve the level of pure love, and we know that the pure love has its symptoms. It's not something cheap. Srila Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is not a cheap thing. It's not that we can approach just by calling Radhe Radhe that we will become Raga Bhaktas. No. Through going to the Raga platform, you have to go through certain levels. For example, in Nectar of Instructions has 11 shlokas. And from this, 7 shlokas is sadhana bhakti. 8th one is Raganuga bhakti while performing sadhana bhakti. That means, for example, we are supposed to chant 24 hours holy name. That's Raganuga platform is chanting 4 hours holy name, but we are doing it because we are informed about that. Chant holy name 24 hours, okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But we don't feel it like that. But we are doing it, that means Sadhana Bhakti in Raganuga Bhakti. And then 9, 10, 11 is Bhava and Prema explained. But to reach to the Bhava and Prema, you have to go through quite some progress. First, you have to control 6 urges of the body. Vachovegam, Manasakrodhavegam, Jivavegam, Udaropastavegam. That means control your speech, your mind, urges, your anger, your tongue, and your belly and genitals. Then you have to avoid 6 obstacles on the path of bhakti. You have to accept the 6 auspicious things on the path of bhakti. Then you have to learn how to associate with devotees, with 6 loving exchanges. Then you have to learn that actually between devotees are different levels, so you have to associate with every devotee in different way. Then you have to learn how to associate with the pure devotee, especially with the spiritual master. Then you learn actually how you should chant properly the holy name. And then you can start to speak about calling Radhe Radhe. So that's Srila Prabhupada explained. It's not a cheap thing. We have to really hard work for that. So, and we see the spirit of Gopis and Srimati Radharani is always to please Krishna. Definition is simple. How you please Krishna? You please his pure devotee. So if you do what Srila Prabhupada did, he will be pleased. If Srila Prabhupada is pleased, your job is done. So, for example, Srila Prabhupada didn't like that devotees are calling Radhe Radhe. If you are calling Radhe Radhe, you are displeasing Srila Prabhupada. That's obviously putting obstacle in your spiritual life. And there are small things because this, okay, say, oh, this is not such a big thing, Prabhupada, why are you mentioning this thing? Yeah, because the mentality is what is behind. It's not that you say Radhe Radhe, this is small thing really. You say maybe once in the morning like that. But the mentality, how you came to the conclusion that you should do these things. That means that all your meditations, all your preparation, all your practice is like that, is based on that. So we should be careful not to divert to this direction. That we are taking that Krishna is cheap. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Srimati Radharani, she is not an ordinary girl. Krishna cannot be pleased by material woman, he is explaining. He can be pleased only by Srimati Radharani. She is very special. And why we are praying to her? We are praying to her because we want to get her mercy. Because if we will get mercy of Srimati Radharani, then we will be recommended to Krishna. If Srimati Radharani recommends somebody to Krishna, then Krishna cannot refuse. That's what is the position of Srimati Radharani. She is Madana Mohana Mohini. That means she is in control of Krishna. Srimati Radharani recommends somebody to Krishna, then Krishna cannot refuse such a devotee. That was also, if you can see, that was actually the Gop Kumar's life story, and then a story of Jana Sharma, who later on Gop Kumar went to preach to him. And Gop Kumar, before he went to preach to Jana Sharma, Srimati Radharani called him and told him, go to the material world, to Gokul, and there is one my devotee. So you bring him to the lotus feet of Krishna. So then Gop Kumar met with him later on and he preached to him, and then that devotee became very much attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, and then became, got qualified to meet with the Krishna. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that by following in the footsteps of the acharyas and the teaching of the acharyas, we can actually get qualified how to meet with the Krishna face to face. He said, one point in the life, you will see Krishna face to face. Now in the beginning, we come to the temple, we see Krishna face to face, but because it is sadhana bhakti, performance, our eyes are material, we see the murti, and we understand theoretically that yes, the murti is non-different from the Krishna. But if we would see really the form of a Krishna as he is in his spiritual form with our spiritual eyes, then our reaction in the temple will be completely different. Srila Prabhupada is describing in Nectar of Instruction, no, Nectar of Devotion, that sometimes the pure devotee, sometimes they are rolling on the floor, sometimes they are laughing, sometimes they are screaming, sometimes they are crying, sometimes they just lie in the temple in front of the Lord. So this becomes the spontaneous behavior, which is actually the manifestation of Raga Bhakti. But the Raga Bhakti will come actually if we perform Raga on the platform of sadhana. That means we perfect our sadhana, we bring our sadhana to the perfection, then from that level actually our Raga will start. You cannot jump to the Raga without perfecting your sadhana. If your sadhana is not perfect, you have difficulty to come from Mangalarati, you cannot be on the level of Raga. Doesn't matter how you feel, it's just a material sentiment actually. It looks maybe for you that you are attracted to Krishna, but because you cannot perform the sadhana properly, it's obvious that you are not on the level of Raga. Because even your sadhana is not perfect. Raga means your sadhana is perfect. You cannot, alarm clock you don't need anymore. You're waking up alone. You cannot wait. Okay, I'm sleeping so long, this body is useless. You know, I have to take so much rest. Let me wake up earlier, and then you can chant. But till the point you have these feelings, you can clearly see that. I remember that when I joined, there was one boy, and he knew that you should restrict your eating and sleeping and like that. So he was doing it artificially. He was eating only, you know, how is it called? The spoon for the serving? Is it called like that? You have this big spoon for serving, so one got broken, so only this kind of bowl stayed. So he was eating only that much per day. And he was also trying to restrict his sleeping. And then within a few months he was gone. He was not anymore in association of devotees. Because he was trying artificially. And this can happen anytime on our path. That we can get diverted, because that's what is the task of the Maya. She's trying to distract all the time with some ideas, you know. And it is explained, Srila Prabhupada is explained that the last snare of a Maya is that you want to become God. So I inquired from one senior devotee about what does it mean? The devotee wants to become a God? I said, no, for example, if you become guru, then you will start to think that whatever you do is transcendental. If you're burping, this is transcendental. If you're farting, it's transcendental. You blink the eyes, it's transcendental. So you start to identify with that divine position. And actually, you cannot come to that level on your own artificially, that you will made it up in your mind and you will go there. It comes by practice. It's become by realization. Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the first shloka, in the purport, in the beginning, that you cannot realize Krishna by associating with academic scholars or some just speculators. You can only realize Krishna by this realized knowledge. So that means by practice. And of course, devotional service is very wide. We have 9 processes. Through any of them you can achieve perfection. But we also know that Srila Prabhupada, he gave us some practical hints when he saw us. He said, yeah, 64 rounds is the ideal. My Guru Maharaj said, whoever is not chanting 64 rounds, he's a fallen. But because Westerners, we are not much used to it. So therefore 16 is at least minimum. So, but the goal is to chant 64 rounds. So if we can head towards it, at the same time engage in practical devotional service, then we are on a actually very good way how to please Srila Prabhupada, and he's perfect representative of Srimati Radharani. If you please Srila Prabhupada, you please Srimati Radharani. And if they are pleased, then we have good chance how we can get the mercy of Krishna. If you get mercy of Krishna, then everything else is, all goals are fulfilled. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Are there some questions or comments? Yes. Please loudly, I'm half deaf.
Thank you so much for a wonderful talk. Actually, you began to answer, I mean, actually answered the question that I had in my mind about Raganuga stage. So you mentioned about the 9 stages of progression, and in that stage, I don't know which stage it was, but it was when you're doing sadhana bhakti and progressing towards Raganuga bhakti. What happens during that transition? That's one. And also, for what advice do you have for devotees who are now trying to practice Raganuga bhakti before having completed the stages themselves?
The first one, I would address it from an angle that just by practicing sadhana bhakti, actually, you can reach maximum Vaikuntha. You cannot go with that to Goloka Vrindavana. But if you perform sadhana bhakti under the, let's say, in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is nobody else than Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani, in the mood of separation of Pranava Seva, then actually you can reach the platform of Raganuga Bhakti and reach the Goloka Vrindavana. So that means that if we follow properly under the guidance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let's say expanded through the instruction of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and other acharyas who they were instructed by him how they should present the science of devotional service to us, then we have guaranteed that actually we can reach that level. And the devotee who wants to practice Raganuga Bhakti while he's still on the sadhana platform, what is the ideal that at the same time while he's doing it, that means he's performing Raganuga Bhakti in sadhana bhakti, that means that there are certain instructions given that you should follow the sadhana, you should chant 24 hours the holy name and like this. You should eat only Krishna Prasada. These everything are actually spontaneous for Raga Bhaktas. They don't have to think that, oh, should I offer this, or they are not in that mental state, or oh, I should chant Hare Krishna. It's not like that they are reminding. For them, it's coming automatically from the heart. So that's their state of the mind. We have to remind ourselves all the time. We have to remind that we have to be Krishna conscious. We have to be Krishna conscious. Again, I'm spaced out. Again, I'm in Maya. So that's constant reminding. When we are chanting, even chanting the holy name, and we have to remind ourselves, come back. The Maya is gone. The Maya is distracting the mind, and the mind is going somewhere. And we have to remind ourselves, hey, come back. Like, sometimes, like every half second, It's like, I remember in a Bhakta program, one devotee, and he was chanting, and then he fell asleep 3 times during one Mahamantra. It was the beginning, but you can see the stage of the conditioned jiva. We are so much in tamoguna, and as we are progressing, of course, this gross tamoguna disappears, but then it goes to the subtle platform. That means that you are distracted from Krishna on the subtle platform. Maybe it's not externally visible, but you know. So I would recommend the association of very advanced devotees. That's actually what the nectar of instruction in the 7th shloka is advising, that actually the essence is to associate with a pure bhakta, with a pure devotee, spiritual master. And then through that association, because they are fire, you put the iron in the fire, it will become fire after some time. You keep it there, it will stay the fire. At one point it will just melt and become fire itself. But you taking it out, it will again cool down. So you keep association with the very advanced devotees. Advanced, according what you could see with your current stage of advancement, according to what you learn in the scriptures, and also that they are respected and recognized by also other senior Vaishnavas and advanced devotees, that they are advanced devotees. You have certain symptoms. So like that, because they can correct you. For example, if you are a little diverted yourself, they can correct you. If you have close relationship, they will correct you. So that's a very safe position, because that's our goal. We want to be on the level of raga, but it will take some time. So while we are performing, we should keep close association with what was Narada Muni in the beginning, when he was a son of a maidservant. He became pure devotee just by eating the remnants and serving the great Vedantas, great devotees of Krishna, like that. And it's not the only one whose Narada Muni is, like Dhruva Maharaj and like that. So many, Prahlad Maharaj. In the womb, he became pure devotee. It was associating with the pure devotee and keeping in mind his instructions in his memory. Reading about Krishna, of course, and like that. So. But that is the most essential association. We read Prabhupada books, we can come to some conclusion. And it happens sometimes that our conclusions may be not in line. So we go to seniors and say, I read like this, I understand like this. And they tell you, yeah, very nice. And they tell you, you rascal, they will tell you sometimes. So we have to be prepared, be open. Is it answering a question? Yes.
Hare Krishna. I was reading a book from Satyananda Maharaj, From My Heart, and I have here a small quote about Srimati Radharani, and Mataji will read for you, okay?
When Srimati Radharani looks at Krishna, her Krishna Prem reaches the topmost stage of love, Mahabhav, great love. Mahabhav is so intense and pure that Srimati Radharani is the only one who can experience. But Radha has a second type of love. When Srimati Radharani thinks of living entities, her heart melts with compassion. Her heart's love, in other words, becomes compassion. It is interesting to note that Radha is also known as Karuna Vidravada, Deha, one whose form melts with compassion. When ordinary persons feel compassion, their eyes may fill with tears for the sufferings of others, but Srimati Radharani's entire body, Deha, melts Vidravada with compassion, Karuna. Thus we find two types of love in Srimati Radharani, one pointing towards Krishna and taking the form of Mahabhav, and the other pointing towards the living entities, taking the form of Karuna or compassion. Srila Rupa Goswami fervently appeals to this compassionate form of Srimati Radharani in his Patadani Padata, knowing well that the tremendous amount of mercy and compassion that flows from Srimati Radharani can make the most wonderful things happen. This boundless mercy does not demand that the recipient be qualified. Lost it. Rather something.
I'm sorry, I understand like every third word. Sorry for that. You can understand? No. So maybe you can leave it for some other time. Is there some other question or comment? Yes, Jagan Prabhu.
Sometimes if someone is trying to strictly follow the movements that Prabhupada mentioned at the beginning of the class, they become troubled by feeling resentful of those who they think are not following the movement. So how to protect against becoming resentful?
Yeah. How to protect to become resentful if you follow strictly Srila Prabhupada and then you see the others are not following, so you can become resentful. So Jagannath Prabhu is asking how to prevent to not to become resentful. That's a good question. I'm facing it sometimes also. One thing is what is helping me is we are trying to cultivate the quality of a Vaishnava, that we are trying to see in every devotee that there is something good and positive, although maybe it's not yet perfect. Of course, we understand that if person is taking shower, although he's maybe a little dirty, we understand he will become clean after some time. So, while maybe somebody not the ideal according our vision, maybe even our vision is not ideal, but let's say we can feel like that inside. We understand that that person is in a process, so he will become after some time. If we will have proper association and follow the process, even if there are maybe some slight distractions on the path. Like I said, that maybe you can do something which is not ideal, but if you keep proper association, you will be corrected. So we can also look for a positive change and positive improvement or engagement of this kind of devotees or persons. Or if you, for example, if you create a general mood, then even if there is some small discrepancy, it's not so powerful, it cannot influence much. So, for example, if there is the kirtans are not done properly, you can look that you can maybe you can help the kirtan to improve the standards of the kirtan. That is, we have proper tools in ISKCON nowadays. We have kirtan minister and like that. So you can always approach and you can try to improve in certain places, how to correct the certain things and like that. So there is always some, how we say this, positive critics or positive improvement, some things. And of course, always associated with devotees who they are above all these things. They are not much distracted anymore. So you will catch up their spirit. Even maybe you get distracted. That's actually Maya. Because what you think about the other problems. You don't think about Krishna so much. And if it will become like more, then actually you are not Krishna conscious anymore. You are in Maya actually. It appears like, oh, you are doing it for Krishna, but at the end you are just absorbing the problems. So our vision should be the positive engagement. That's, of course, Jnana and Vairagya. We are trying to renounce things which are inauspicious for Krishna consciousness, and at the same time we are accepting the which are auspicious. But at the same time means that bhakti means in general positive engagement. That means you engage positively, not much this neti. It is there also. We have to renounce something, we have to refuse, but more we are trying to positive engage, not only us. We are trying to positive engage also others. So, then Srila Prabhupada, he was expert. For example, if somebody was challenging him in the public with some issue and controversy and like that, and Srila Prabhupada, he was facing a lot, when he was speaking about women less intelligent. At the time, and in USA, it was the boom when the women are equal, and he started to preach like that, So he was facing many times he gained the majority on his side by preaching and by speaking. And that this argument became small and irrelevant. So when we influence the majority, then actually these small things, they will dissolve. And of course, always we have to take shelter in the chanting of the holy name, association of devotees, prasadam, reading Prabhupada books, distributing them, going for Harinam. Then naturally these things, you will see them. But they'll be small. They will not be so big. You have to work on that Krishna is much bigger than these problems what you see around. Is it answering? Okay.
I was just thinking about Prabhu's question, and there's something slightly more, like you were saying that different devotees are on different, paths and stages of the path, and like different levels of their devotional service and stuff. And I guess that's, that's up to them and between them and Krishna, and that's very nice. But it made me think, like, one kind of problem that I've had is devotees that everyone's endeavoring to be a devotee, but when you come to when you come to Krishna consciousness first, and when you're a new devotee, then there's people, you're in a vulnerable position, and there are people that are consider themselves as your authority. Some of them may be like your authority, but others, I am a devotee, I've been here for longer, so I'm gonna, I try to take control of this person, take charge of this person. And I think that's the most frustrating thing, when somebody hasn't reached, I feel very kind of nervous saying all this, but they're not quite qualified, but because they've been around for a while, if you're a new devotee, everyone's been around for longer than you, and this kind of people, they try to take charge, and they try, I'm going to tell this person what to do, this new...
They're imposing authority, yeah?
Yeah, imposing authority, right. They're not in a place of authority, but, I'm a devotee, and I'm going to, but they're not qualified, and you don't have that trust in them, and that's, I found that's where resentment for me came from.
Yes, we came here to enjoy and control. And if you are not materialist, then we will control devotees. That's what happens. How is it in English? You have to command respect, not demand respect. Is it correct? Yeah, like that. So there is one beautiful thing in spiritual life, and that is that the spiritual master, or let's say spiritual authority, you're choosing by your free will. It's not imposed by anybody on you. So that if person is imposing his authority, he has the right to do that. Definitely. He is individual jiva, he has free will to do things as he thinks, imagine. But you have also right to refuse to follow his authority if you didn't choose him to be your authority. As we are progressing, we may become more expert how to be more polite and discriminate. Actually, Rupa Goswami, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the, you have 6 loving exchanges explained in the Nectar of Instruction, in the 4th shloka. In the 5th shloka, it is explained about different levels of devotees. And in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada is saying that in order to properly apply the previous 6 loving exchanges, we have to carefully discriminate with who we are associating and how. So it means we have to use our intelligence. Krishna gave it to us. We have a brain, so we have to use it. We are not... Srila Prabhupada wanted movement of independently thoughtful men. He didn't want the movement of a sheep, of a herd, to just follow one big man, and he says like this, we are doing because he said. Wait a second, but this is different what Prabhupada is saying. Yeah, but now Prabhupada... That you can see, these are the blind followers. If you see what Prabhupada is saying, somebody is imposing some authority on you based on his false ego, and you can see clearly in the Prabhupada books, it's a different thing. Many senior devotees are saying also opposite. His imposer, you can keep the distance. That's what actually Rupa Goswami advises. That is materialistic inclined devotees. The materialistic inclined means you want to enjoy the matter. You want to enjoy his explaining, you want to enjoy intoxication, you want to enjoy women, and these are only personification of a power and control and like that. So he's advising that from such a devotee you show respect from distance. Hare Krishna. And that's it. You don't take prasadam together to discuss intimately or reveal your mind and like that and inquire confidentially. You don't do these things with these persons. You keep a distance. That's the most safe. And if it is unavoidable, which sometimes circumstance happens, tolerate and try to find Exit door. If you can tolerate all the time, some people are like that. But usually we are not on that level. So try to find devotees who you can relate, who you can accept as your authority, and you can take their guidance.
I have, but sometimes when you want to be you want to leave it up to Krishna, it's sort of like, okay, I'm gonna leave it up to Krishna, and I'm gonna request help from all the devotees, but then it kind of puts you in a vulnerable position because people take advantage of that, people that do want to control others.
Leave it up to Krishna. Therefore Krishna gave you brain. Therefore he gave you intelligence to discriminate.
Yeah, that's right.
There was one Mataji, and during the flood, the devotees came to her house and told Mataji, the flood is coming to your house. You better go with us. And she said, no, I will leave it up to Krishna. Then devotees came second time. Please, Mataji, the water is rising. It's rising quickly. Please go with us. No, I will leave it up to Krishna. Then the flood came and she drowned. She was so, let's say, she couldn't perceive that Krishna already sent 2 times devotees to give her chance to actually escape that situation. It's because Krishna is giving us intelligence. So, is it clear? I think it's, what is it? 8:53. So, do you want to ask one question? Those who want to leave